Hey guys, and welcome to Find Your Flow. I am Natalie, and today we have a cozy flow. So hop into your super snuggly clothes, get your blankets, towels, cushions, pillows, whatever you have to make this extra comfortable for you, and easing into this flow. So really taking it nice and steady to start your day, end your day, anything at all. Hop on the mat and I'll meet you there. Okay, so cozy yoga is here. Yay! Come on down to the ground. This is where we're going to start our practice. And you can have the legs out long, maybe the knees are bent, the feet are on the ground, and just bringing your hands to your stomach space as we close the eyes and soften the gaze completely. Just taking a few moments at the start of our practice to settle in to where we are right now. Think about everything that you brought with you to the mat and really notice every little thing. But then without letting any of these things distract you, simply accept what they are and come to bring your attention to your inhales and exhales, something so simple that can have such a profound effect on the mind and the body. Notice how it sounds, maybe it's loud or quiet. How long our breath is, without straining it, just keeping it supernatural. How does this feel in our body? Where is the space where we feel our breath the most? Taking all of the tension away from the body. I know you can do it. Sometimes it can be harder than other times. If we're already holding a lot of tightness in the body, it can be really quite hard to allow this release. So scanning through the body from the crown of the head to the tip of the toes, every single little bit in between. Can we melt this space down towards the ground? Take all of the effort, the stira, away from this. Can we trust that we have chosen the right practice for ourselves today? One more lovely breath. And everybody, you can keep the eyes closed or gently bat them open as we come to hug the knees in towards the armpits. So keeping them nice and wide. One hand floats onto each knee and then sending the knees out wide and around in a circle. Your knees are circling in two opposite directions. And really thinking of our theme as we flow through our practice today, keeping everything soft, easy and gentle. Sending your circle in the opposite direction. Maybe we marry our movement to our breath, maybe we just move. Whatever feels right for you today, just go with it. Nice, one more breath here. Before floating the feet nice and wide on the ground. allowing the thighs to internally rotate as the knees float to the center. Taking one breath here. Exhaling and then starting to heel toe the feet towards each other. And eventually the soles of the feet come together as the knees open wide. Supta Baddha Konasana, keeping the lower back flush with the earth. This lovely long spine spreading all the way up to the back of the neck. Nice. And then walking the feet back out. Almost about as wide as our mat. Knees come together. We internally rotate. So we're going from internal to external rotation in the thigh bone and hip space. Nice. Heel toe the feet together. Open wide. Really be gentle as we ease into this hip space. And one more time. Walking the feet out. And back in. Perfect. And then using the hands to bring the knees back together as we bring the feet to the earth, about parallel hips distance apart. And walking the feet so they're roughly underneath the knee space. If they're really far out or really far in, can we take them to this in-between space so we can really help our body to root down and find stability. So planting the palms either side of the torso. Again, either moving with your breath or just making sure you breathe and listening to what feels good. We're going to flip the tailbone and lift it off the mat towards the sky. Then really slowly peel the low back off, the mid back, and working into the upper back. This doesn't have to be a really big move. Remember, come to bring the upper back down and the mid back, the lower back, and finally the tailbone rocks on. Lovely. Keep pressing down to the feet and palms to help us rise up slowly with love and care. Just sending some fluid, some fresh oxygen, some super slinky movement into the spinal area. So really think about moving each part of our spine one by one as individual vertebrae rather than one big solid chunk of spine. And even if, we do have a little bit less space in the back body, and that's okay, just work towards this intention. Really envisage your spine like a slinky. Beautiful. One more time, lifting all the way up. Press into the palms and the feet, ground down through the fingers and the toes. And then release all the way down. Roll onto your right side and use the palms to lightly press you up into a seat. Awesome. And now in our seat, of course, take what support you need here. I have my folded blanket. I'm going to lift my hips up onto to find a little bit more space and love, and just come into any comfortable seat here at all, whatever feels great. It might be cross-legged, it might be legs out long, you might even come to a chair if having the knees bent like this really doesn't feel good. So wherever we are, sitting up nice and tall, lovely long line from the tailbone to the crown. And again, we can close the eyes or keep them open here as we place the hands where they feel most comfortable and take our gaze over to the right side and down towards the ground, chin to chest. Over to the left side, circling our neck, and then gaze up towards the sky. Nice. 2 more times in this direction. And feel free to stay in a particular space if you need to send a little bit more love and space to that area. And whenever you're ready, send your circle in the opposite direction 3 times the other way. And really take this slow. Feel every single place that your gaze is going to, and move in there with intention. So rather thinking about this shape that we're making in the neck, can we experience and really become attuned to these sensations that we feel here? Nice. And whenever you've finished your final circle, make your way to gaze back to center and float the palms together at the heart in Anjali Mudra. Keeping the spine nice and long. Keeping the palms together. We'll send the fingertips down towards the ground in front like a dagger. And then opening the palms. Reaching them wide and then all the way up towards the sky. Gazing up if we can. Hands float together at the sky, and then thumbs down to the third eye point in the forehead. Down to the mouth. Down to the heart. Beautiful. 2 more times. Again, I invite you to close the eyes if this feels good. Thumbs to the third eye, the mouth, the heart. Once more. Beautiful. Keep growing tall, even as the hands come down and back to the heart. Nice. And then opening the eyes, joining together and finding a Baddha Konasana. So just like what we did on the ground with the feet together and the knees open wide, but this time doing it seated. So bringing the soles of the feet together. And as always, lifting your hips a little bit higher to help find some space. And it doesn't matter how close the feet are to pubic bone, you might like to bring them closer or take them a little bit wider, further away. Wherever we are, just breathe into this space we're finding in the hips again, allowing the knees to soften towards the ground, and then taking hold of the feet or the legs, whatever feels comfortable, and really noticing that we aren't using this as an anchor to simply crank and yank ourselves closer to the ground, but just as a support to help guide us. As we inhale, we'll lift tall. Exhale, start to fold, stomach down towards the heels, snuggling our way towards the ground. Remember, wherever you are today, that is amazing. There is no certain way we need to be or have to be. Just breathe here. And with every inhale, perhaps it's a reminder to lengthen a little taller. And exhale, maybe we explore a little bit more of a fold. Remember that we're using the hands as a support and a guide rather than to crank and yank us closer to the earth. So if you don't know whether you're doing this or not, take the hands away and see if you all of a sudden slingshot back up. Nice. One more breath here. And on an exhale, slowly lift your way back up. Use the hands to bring the knees together. And then keeping your hips lifted onto your support. If you have some room where you are, that's great. If not, you might like to come sideways on the mat like I am, as we take the legs out wide. And this doesn't have to be super wide. Remember our theme, cozy yoga, keeping it all nice and soft and gentle today. If we notice this collapse straight away in the pelvis space and in the spine, can we take this as an invitation to lift our hips a little higher and maybe bring our legs a little bit closer together? So we're looking to still keep this lovely long spine that we found as we find a bit more space in between our legs, and noticing the knees. We can keep as generous a bend in the knees as we want here. Just be mindful that we aren't locking into the knee joint wherever we are. So bringing the hands down to the ground in front of us. We might lift onto our fingertips. We might be down on the palms. We might like to walk slightly further forward. We might like to come down onto the forearms. Wherever we are, just find this space and breathe. Remember, it's not about how far we go down, but what we learn on the way. Inhaling to invite length, exhaling, perhaps we fold a little bit more. And everybody walking the hands over towards the right side. Remember, if we're up here, that is called awesome work there. Just keeping the toes flexed, knees soft. And walking the hands all the way over to the left. Feeling a little bit of a rotation in the torso here as well. Finding space in the side body, gorgeous. Nice, and everybody make your way back to center. Perhaps we have a bit more space now. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Just finding 3 more breaths here. And on your third and final exhale, walk the hands back. Use the hands to bend the knees, bring them back to center, bring everything back to flexion, nice. And just take a breath here. Before coming to bring the left leg in front of the right leg. So seated up on our support here, and instead of crossing, we're bringing one leg in front of the other. So if we have one hip that might be a little bit more open than the other, be mindful that it doesn't mean that we are destabilizing our pelvis and rocking and tilting on one side to the other. So try and keep the hips and the pelvis space rooted down, even if it means one knee or one leg is higher than the other. I know I have my leg that doesn't like to do what it's told, but that's just the way we are. So taking a breath in and out. And then everybody on your inhale, reach the arms all the way towards the sky, gazing up if you like. Nice, keep the arms reaching, and exhale, folding forwards. Again, keeping the hips rooted down onto your support. Keeping the left hand on the ground. As we imagine we're drawing our arrow back, we have our bow and arrow in our hand. We're reaching our right hand all the way towards the sky. Nice, lengthen. And then release 2 more times. Really intentionally draw this arrow back as we open and reach. And release. Once more. And then making your way all the way back up to center and bring the right leg in front this time. Taking a breath in and out. And on your next inhale, reach the arms all the way for the sky. Reach nice and tall, maybe a little taller. Exhale, fold forwards. One more breath here. Before planting the right hand down, drawing our bow back, our arrow back, and lifting the left hand towards the sky. Can you tell I'm not an archer? And releasing 2 more times. Really notice this twist that we're finding through the rib cage and through the thoracic spine. Gorgeous. And when you've finished, Walk your hands back up and jump forwards into a tabletop all fours. Move your blanket out of the way for now. Unless you want some padding under the knees, then I really encourage you to take anything you need here. And bring in our wrists beneath our shoulders, knees beneath our hips. This nice sturdy tabletop, pressing away from the palms as we lift out of our shoulder space. And then floating our way into cat pose, curling the tailbone down, arching through the spine, dropping the gaze. And lifting the tailbone, sending the tummy down, lifting the gaze, cow pose, nice. And again into cat, moving your spine, individual parts, just like we did on the ground on our backs. And lifting your way into cow pose, nice. One more time. And then make your way back to your neutral spine. When you're ready, we'll bump our hips to the right and take our gaze past our right shoulder. Look into the bottom right corner of our mat, and we might like to stay here, or reach the left arm forwards and then over just slightly towards the right side. Breathing into the side body fully, and softening your way back to your tabletop before bumping the hips to the left, gazing past the left shoulder. Option to stay here or reach that right arm forward and slightly over towards the left side. And then releasing, coming back to tabletop. Nice. Walking the hands a little bit further forward. And from here, curling our way into cow pose, so lifting the tailbone and the gaze. And then sending our way back into a cat pose, but coming to sit onto the heels. Nice, lifting all the way through to cow pose, just finding a variation here. And then curling through angry cat, really arch the spine as we come to sit back. One more time. Maybe you waggle your tail from side to side here. As we curl through angry cat and make our way down to the ground, everybody meeting child's pose. And take your version of child's pose here. If the forehead doesn't meet the ground, or if the hips don't meet the heels, can we find some support from our at-home props to help bridge this gap? Nice, and we have the option here to stay in our child's pose or make our way up for one downward facing dog, but keeping it nice and soft and easy. This could be exactly what your body needs right now. So if we're coming into down dog, tuck the toes under as we stay sitting back on the heels. Reach the hands in front, pressing into the palms. Lead with the hips, lift them high. And down dog, keeping it soft and easy. Paddle through the heels. Nice. And if you're in down dog, walk your hands back to your feet into a forward fold. And if you're in child's pose, simply lift your way up, tuck the toes under, and walk the hands back, everybody meeting in a forward fold, lengthening the legs, but keeping this nice bend in the knees. Feet hips distance apart, if not a tiny bit wider. And really allowing the head, neck, and arms to hang softly. Almost imagine we're like a heavy pendulum swinging from side to side. and coming back to center. Taking our hands underneath our feet, so it doesn't matter how much we need to bend our knees to get here. Bringing the backs of our hands to the ground, the soles of our feet to our palms. Really bend the knees. And then on an inhale, start to lengthen through the legs as much as feels comfortable without locking into the knees. Exhale to fold and bend. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Releasing the hands from the feet and bringing the left hand to the center of the mat. And it might come on the ground, it might lift onto your support from your props. If you have a brick or block, a book, whatever you have. And imagine we're drawing that arrow back again. The right hand reaches all the way up the left and then reaches towards either the small of the back or the sky. And as we straighten through the right leg, we'll bend that left knee generously and start to find this open twist to the right side. Nice. Finding one more breath here before releasing and sending the right hand down, drawing our left hand back, our arrow here, and reaching it to the small of the back or to the sky. And then we'll straighten through the left leg, bend through the right. And really notice how this feels in the center and the torso, this twist that we're finding. Finding one more breath here. And on your exhale, make your way back to center, forward fold. And walking the hands forwards, making your way into a child's pose. Everybody come in here. Knees can be wide or close together. Arms forwards or arms back. Listen to what feels most comfortable for you today. And really taking the opportunity in this child's pose to allow your body to rest and take all of the tension away from the physical body. And remind ourselves not to be too hard on ourselves. Can we use this practice and lots of our yoga practices to really create a foundation on which we can send some love and care and compassion to ourselves and our mind, our body. And then if we do that, are we able to spread this to others, to our friends, family members, colleagues, strangers, neighbors, anyone at all? Finding a couple more breaths here. And then lightly press your way all the way back up. Scoot the legs to one side. And come to lie down on the ground. Keep all of your pillows and cushions and blankets nearby so you don't have far to grab them. And then when you get down on the ground, take the legs out long and reach the arms back behind you. You can keep a nice soft bend in the elbows here, but really just reach your way through the heels and through the fingertips for one full breath. And exhale, release the arms and bend the knees, bring the feet to the ground as we lift our hips up and over to the left side. And then hug our knees in towards our chest, before floating them over towards the right side. Nice. Coming into a twist here, keeping our shoulder blades on the earth. So if that means that our bottom knee doesn't touch the ground, can we take some support, whatever we have, to lift the ground up to us? And we can bring something in between the knees and notice where you have the arms. And where is your gaze? Are we allowing ourselves to really restore in this pose? We're not looking to push really hard to find a stretch or shape or strengthen in any way here. More just send some love and space to the areas that might need it. Nice. One more breath. And to come out, hug the knees back in first. And release the feet to the earth. Nice. Hips lift now up and over to the right side. We hug the knees in and send them over to the left. And then from here, notice if you need more support or less support and how one side can feel really different to the other. It's super interesting just listening to our body and the way it works and the way it moves. And again, how do you want your arms here? Where would you like your gaze? And perhaps you do close the eyes. And if you do, where does your attention drift to? It doesn't matter if it does drift off. We're all human, it will definitely always happen. But can we just notice whenever it does float away from our mat and bring our attention back to where we are in this space, in this moment, and with this breath. It's with this giving into the breath that we can really allow some of the incredible benefits of our yoga practice to be found, to be explored or discovered. One more breath. And then on your next exhale, hug the knees in towards you. And release the feet to the ground, just shimmying your way back to center and coming to find our final, most precious resting posture, Shavasana. So taking all of your props here, everything you have brought with you to really make this Shavasana an amazing, incredible, extra special one. So what I'm doing is folding a cushion underneath my legs, acting as a bolster. I am bringing a blanket over my body. I've got my cushion under my head. You can take absolutely anything. If you have an eye pillow for across the eyes, or maybe on the forehead, then feel free to use this. And whenever you've wrestled with your blanket and come to find a comfy space, then I invite you to close the eyes. Take your attention to your toes and release all tension from this space. And move your attention up to the tops of the feet and the soles of the feet. And take any tension away from this space. Move your attention up to your ankles, the calves and the shins, and take any tension away from this space. Float your attention up to your knees, to the thighs and the hamstrings, and take any tension away from this space. Glide your attention now to your hips and your pelvis, your glutes, your pubic bone, and take any tension away from this space. Moving your attention now to your stomach and the front body. We travel up the front body to the chest and the sternum, taking any tension away from this space. Traveling our attention now down our back body, all the way from the lower back to the mid-back, the upper back, traveling through the spine and taking any tension away from this space. Moving our attention now to our shoulders and traveling down each of our arms to our biceps and our triceps, taking away any tension from this space. Moving now down to the attention in our elbows and our forearms, our wrists, taking any tension away from this space. Floating on now to our palms, our fingers and our fingertips, taking any tension away from this space. Making our way to our neck, all the way to the jaw, the cheeks, the brows, and the forehead, the crown of the head, and the back of the head. Taking any tension away from this space. Our whole body, physically, emotionally, energetically, is connected. Here we remind ourselves that we are one. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile, dwelling in the present moment. I know this is a wonderful moment. Slowly starting to bring your attention back to this space, wiggling the fingers and toes and taking any light movement that you would like to. There's absolutely no rush here. to wake yourself back up. We are going to finish our practice lying down on the ground. So keeping the hands where they are or floating the palms together at the heart space, if that resonates with you. The divine light in me honors and respects the divine light in each and every one of you. I thank you so much for practicing with me today. From my heart to yours. Namaste.